Hey everybody, welcome to Bura Tech. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the future of universities and colleges. Alright, before we start this video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribers we get, the more content we can make. And remember that this channel doesn't do a Patreon, instead we sell our digital products down below. The more money we get from the products that you buy below, the more content we can make. Also, please be sure to smash that like button. If this video got 1,000 likes, it would mean the world to me. So smash that like button. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about higher education. Now, everybody knows that if you go to college, you'll probably make more money in the long run. Now, this can be anything from a computer science degree to anything from vocational training. And this is one thing that is really important to do in life. You always need to be learning. Even after you've completed your college degree, you continually need to be learning. Now, I'm in the technology space, so I am always learning because technology is constantly changing. And the easiest way to succeed in technology is to learn the newest technology to its fullest ability as quickly as possible. So let's talk a little bit about this video. This video is made by Scott Galloway. He is a very respected researcher, and I highly agree with a lot of the things he says. So one of the things he talks about is the changing of higher education due to the coronavirus. Now, the coronavirus is going to change the world, and after this whole pandemic is done, the world is going to be different, but it's also going to be the same in some regards. So it's not going to be the exact same for pre-pandemic, but it's going to be somewhat similar, but a lot of things are going to change. And the online learning space is definitely going to change. If you don't already know, I've been running an e-learning company for almost 10 years now, and I've been a teacher for way longer than that. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is online learning. Online learning is absolutely amazing because you can learn something as quickly as possible. And one of the things that I've always said, if you've been following me year over year, is that why do you have to commute your body to an institution to learn when you can just do it online? Now, online learning isn't for everyone. If you're very driven and you need to get things done yesterday, then online learning is great for you. You can literally hop onto your computer, go into YouTube, buy a course, start learning, and get a practical project out the door that you can use on your resume. Now, I tried this process back in 2009 and 2010, and the online learning was rather new at that time, and a lot of people preferred degrees over portfolio at the time. So the progress I made was limited, but nowadays, really it all comes down to what you can do. If you have a really good portfolio and you're a really good coder or a really good anything, that's pretty much what companies are looking for. So having said that, there's a lot of things that you need to actually go to school for. In fact, I don't think that it's very good to just sit on your computer and learn online. I don't think you'll be successful. I think the people that are really going to be successful will do that, but they'll also go to a place where they can explore new ideas and challenge themselves. Because one of the things that happens when you're learning online is that you think you're really, really awesome at what you do, and all of your opinions are the opinions that should be the opinions of everyone. But when you go into the real world, you might find that your opinions are not as good, or your processes aren't as good as what the competition offers. So that's why you need to constantly talk to people, and there's no better way to do that at school. So what I think is really going to happen is that people are still going to go to class, but there's going to be a heavy emphasis on online learning in the future. So what that means is that there is going to be less demand for physical space in these campuses. Now, one of the things that Scott Galloway talks about is the higher education, that is the top brands like Harvard and Yale. These are going to be luxury brands akin to, let's say, Tesla or Louis Vuitton. Now, what this means is that if you go to Harvard, it's going to be like wearing the top line fashion products or driving the top car. This is because that, again, Harvard is a fashionable brand, or it's a high-end luxury brand. So what does that mean for the other schools? Well, what Harvard can do is, if a lot of learning is online, they can expand their classes, well, almost infinitely. Anyone who can get an education can go to Harvard now. This is rather interesting because before there was limited to the amount of people that can fit into a classroom and that can stay near or on campus. But now they can literally do 1,000, 10,000, or 100,000 people that can go through Harvard, because on the internet, distance is irrelevant. You can have people going to Harvard from India to South Africa to Brazil to New York, anywhere that can have an internet connection. Someone can go to Harvard. And what I find really awesome about this is that if you are smart anywhere in the world, you can go to the top school without leaving your home. And I think this is rather cool. Now, what that means, though, is that these middle ground schools are probably going to suffer quite a bit, because there's a lot of people that might not go to Harvard for one reason or another, but they could probably get into Harvard or one of these top-end schools. And instead of going to their local school, or let's say the top school in their state, they can just simply go to Harvard or one of these other big schools. So those schools are really going to suffer. Now, the other thing about schools, and this is of course dependent on which school you're talking about, is that higher education is very, very inefficient. There's a lot of administration, and that's what eats up the cost of going to school, is, believe it or not, the administration. It's not the actual product that you're using. Imagine if you went to a burger joint and you paid 10 times the amount for a burger, and not just for the burger, but for the employees in the back end of getting that burger to you. That's what higher education is like. And with online learning, you can just go to Harvard, or you can buy a course on Udemy, or you can buy a course from Mammoth Interactive. Hint, hint, buy our products down below. So what this means is that these schools are probably going to see less enrollment, and people are going to start learning from home. So I'm an introvert, and I love spending time by myself. In fact, I don't like spending too much time in the crowds, although I do need it occasionally. I think extroverts will have a particularly hard time of adapting to online education. So extroverts have always been advantageous because most of the time you need to go out there and meet people and basically socialize with people to be successful. But nowadays you can do it all from your bedroom. You can learn how to make a video game and then sell it on Steam and then make $1 million. This is something that you can absolutely do today. You couldn't do this 10, 20 years ago. It was very difficult. Now, of course, you might see that there were a few people 10 years ago doing this, but the infrastructure was quite a bit harder to use. And today it's fairly seamless. You can just download the Unreal Engine for free, use it, and then upload an amazing game to Steam and make a lot of money. This is something that is absolutely easy to do, and you can do it all from your bedroom. This was very hard to do in the past. So I think extroverts will still go to school, but believe it or not, I think introverts are the ones that are going to be more advantaged in the coming decade. So these mid-tier schools are going to have another problem. They're going to charge a lot more money than what their product is worth. And so people are going to go to the community college level because the products are a lot cheaper, and everyone is going to be very price sensitive in the next decade. Remember, it took a long time to get out of the 2008 financial crisis. For me personally, it was about 3 to 4 years before things started to feel normal again. And I don't know how long this pandemic and this recession is going to last, but it could take 5 years, it could take 10 years, it could be 10 years before things feel normal again. There have been recessions in the past where it's taken 10, maybe 20 years for things to feel normal again. And this is one thing that people have to understand. And if you're a small business owner, people are going to be very price sensitive. And I think that's a rather good thing. There's also probably going to be inflation in some way, shape, or form. It's too early to tell as of this video. It could be asset prices, it could be consumer prices. It's probably going to be consumer prices, but only time will tell. So people will probably buy less things and they'll be a lot more price sensitive. Hence, those middle tier schools, which are more expensive for their product, those people that would normally go there would probably just go to the community college instead, and the top end will go to Harvard, etc. The other thing that people are definitely going to do is probably opt for not doing an entire degree, but doing small level certificates. If you want to be a cybersecurity professional, then you can easily just take an online course and then write the test. Now, the tests themselves can be pretty expensive. They can be a few $100s all the way up to $1,000 per test. Now, it's not inexpensive to do this, but there's going to be a lot of certifications that are like this. You buy a course, you study really, really hard, and you take the test, and then all of a sudden you have one cybersecurity certificate, and there might be 5 or 6 that you do in this 10-year span. That means that you might do one certificate per year, and you'll be able to get hired as a cybersecurity professional without even ever leaving your bedroom or even going to school. And there's going to be a lot more of this. Now, of course, not everything is going to work in an online setting. Of course, we don't want the next generation of doctors to be trained online. That means that, of course, if someone wants to be a surgeon, they actually have to go somewhere and practice the surgery. The other thing is that perhaps a surgeon might download a course online and they might be able to study it in their spare time, but there's going to be that blended approach, which is really what I think is going to happen. There's going to be a fairly large blended approach to online learning and in-person training. And if you really want to be successful, you have to do both. When I started learning online in 2008, 2009, and 2010, where I bought a bunch of courses, I pretty much worked at home and I didn't talk to anybody else. And that was a huge mistake. I basically thought that I was really good because I took these courses and I made some products and released them onto marketplaces. But when I started to talk to other people who were way better at coding than me, I noticed that there was a lot of holes in my knowledge. And you really need to talk to people and you really need to be challenged. And this is one characteristic of success. You always have to be challenged in some way, shape, or form. You always have to challenge your personal opinions, yourself, and then other people will challenge too. And I think this is the best use for school because you can go to a place, you can learn and talk to other people, and just talking shop will lead you lots of gains in your career. So let me know what you think. Do you think online education is here to stay? Please write your comments down below. Remember that this channel doesn't do a Patreon. Instead, we sell our digital products down below. The more money we get from the content that you buy below, the more products we can make. If you really like this channel, you can subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. We have everything from game development tutorials to machine learning tutorials and much, much more. We release 20 to 60 hours of fresh new content per month. We have monthly options and yearly options. If you're already a subscriber to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content, thank you so much. Not only do you make this YouTube channel possible, but you make Mammoth Interactive possible. Our goal is to get to 10,000 paid subscribers per month, and we need your help to get there. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to help us out in the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in another video.